In modern warfare, not every escalation comes from something new. Sometimes it comes from something old, revived, repurposed, and launched back into relevance under very different conditions than those it was designed for. That reality became clear again when Ukrainian air defense operators began tracking unusually large cruise missiles approaching Kyiv. Their flight profile, speed, and size stood apart from the more familiar threats that have dominated the air war in recent months. The appearance of this missile raised immediate questions. Why return to a Cold War design now? And what does its use reveal about the current state of Russia's long-range strike strategy? Let's see the latest incident on the battlefield. In the early hours of January 24th, Russian strategic aviation launched a coordinated long-range missile attack targeting Kyiv and surrounding regions. According to Ukrainian Air Force reports, 12 large cruise missiles were fired toward the capital, 9 of which were intercepted by Ukrainian air defense systems. What made this strike stand out was not only its scale, but the type of missile involved. Ukrainian officials identified the incoming weapons as Kh-22 cruise missiles, or possibly their modernized variant, the Kh-32, a system that has rarely been employed against Kyiv since the start of the war. The Kh-22 is significantly larger and faster than the cruise missiles more commonly used in recent months. Unlike weapons such as the Kh-101, which are designed for long-range precision strikes, the Kh-22 was never intended for accurate land attacks. Its presence over Kyiv immediately caught the attention of military analysts. Ukrainian air defenses managed to intercept the majority of the incoming missiles, reportedly using Western-supplied systems, including Patriot batteries. However, officials emphasize that countering such threats comes at a high cost, as each interceptor expended represents a valuable and limited resource. This attack marked one of the first confirmed uses of Kh-22 class missiles against the Ukrainian capital itself, signaling a shift in how and where Russia is willing to employ some of its most destructive legacy weapons. To understand why the Kh-22 matters, it's important to understand what this missile was originally designed to do. Developed during the Cold War, the Kh-22 was created as a long-range anti-ship cruise missile, intended to strike large naval targets such as aircraft carriers. It was designed to fly at high altitude and extreme speed, delivering a massive warhead capable of overwhelming naval defenses. The missile is typically launched from Tu-22M3 backfire strategic bombers, which can carry multiple Kh-22 under their fuselage. Once released, the missile climbs steeply before diving toward its target at supersonic speed, a flight profile optimized for maritime warfare, not urban environments. When used against ground targets, the Kh-22 limitations become clear. Its guidance system lacks the precision required for pinpoint strikes, meaning its accuracy is measured in hundreds of meters rather than meters. As a result, when employed over land, the missile functions more as a high-speed area weapon than a precision instrument. Russia has used Kh-22 missiles sparingly during the conflict, often against large infrastructure targets or cities far from the front line. Their massive warhead ensures destructive potential even when accuracy is low, but their limited numbers and specialized launch requirements have kept them from becoming a routine part of strike packages. The decision to deploy them against Kyiv suggests either a deliberate escalation or a willingness to rely on older systems as newer missile stocks face increasing strain. The Kh-22 strike does not stand alone. It fits into a broader pattern that has become increasingly visible in recent months: Russia adapting older or non-traditional missile systems for battlefield use. Just days before the Kyiv attack, Ukrainian officials reported the use of an entirely different and equally unusual weapon, the RM-48U. Unlike the Kh-22, the RM-48U was never designed as a strike missile at all. There are several reasons why this approach makes sense from a military standpoint. First, repurposed missiles like the RM-48U can still force air defense systems to react, track, and engage, consuming interceptors regardless of whether the missile itself is highly accurate. Second, using such systems allows Russia to supplement strike waves without expending more valuable precision weapons. This strategy mirrors what was seen during the Kh-22 strike on Kyiv. By mixing legacy missiles, modern cruise weapons, drones, and experimental systems, Russian forces complicate Ukrainian defensive planning and stretch air defense resources across multiple threat types. The return of Soviet-era missiles and the appearance of improvised systems like the RM-48U highlight a key reality of the current air war: adaptation under pressure. Missile warfare in Ukraine has evolved into a contest of endurance as much as technology. Each side must manage finite resources, production limits, and operational demands. For Russia, this has meant revisiting older stockpiles and finding new roles for weapons that were never intended to strike cities. For Ukrainian air defenders, the challenge lies not just in stopping individual missiles, but in managing the cumulative strain of repeated large-scale attacks. Even a missile with low accuracy demands attention, radar tracking, and often interception, each step consuming time, manpower, and equipment. There is also a psychological and analytical dimension. The use of rarely seen missiles forces defenders and analysts to constantly reassess what might appear in future strikes. Each unfamiliar weapon introduces uncertainty, even if its military effectiveness is limited. In this context, the Kh-22's appearance over Kyiv is less about novelty and more about signaling. It demonstrates a willingness to deploy high-impact legacy weapons in new roles, while the RM-48U underscores how blurred the line has become between training equipment and combat systems. As the long-range missile campaign continues, the battlefield is increasingly shaped not only by cutting-edge technology, but by how creatively older systems are adapted for modern war. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.